The Outer Banks is one of my favorite places to go on vacation, and it just so happens to now be the name of one of my favorite shows on Netflix. Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Ryan Ramakrishnan here. Hope you guys are all well out there, staying safe and healthy. I'm sure that many of you are spending your time binge watching TV shows, and one of my favorite new shows on Netflix just came out last week, and it is called Outer Banks. Real quick, kind of a basic summary here is we've got a couple of kids, John B and his good friends, Kiara, Pope, and JJ. And these guys, they're all teenagers, and they are all living up their lives in the Outer Banks. Also have some personal problems going on. We see that our main guy, John B, he's living by himself, though he's telling people he's got family, so he could stay there because he's under 18, though doesn't look it or act it. But John B, he doesn't want to get into the system of foster care and stuff like that, and he just wants to be independent. His boys, Pope and JJ, both have different things going on because Pope is super smart. He's got a chance to sort of get a good scholarship and all, but it could easily be blown, right? And he's hanging out with friends who are willing to be a little rebellious. JJ is struggling to be happy at his house where his alcoholic father abuses him and is just not a good father. So it's tough on him. And Kiara, well, she's the only girl of the group. Sure, that could be a struggle in and of itself. Kiara also was once one of the rich kids, which we'll get into in a minute, but she's part of their group and, she's pretty mature, so she doesn't always agree with all of the reckless decisions that these guys make. All right, so this main group of friends, they called themselves the Pogues, and that is basically the opposite to the Kooks. So, weird names, but the Pogues, these guys, they have families who are all just not wealthy, lower middle class kinda. Like I said, John B is, I think, 16 or 17, and he's living by himself. We see that the parents of some of these kids, they're really working their asses off for the rich people. And the Kooks, the other side of things, we see people who are just living it up and enjoying their money and flexing it. Okay, so the main exciting part of the story is that these kids in the Outer Banks, mainly John B himself, wants to go on this treasure hunt. His father tried it. His father is missing. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know where he is, but he got lost at sea once because of this treasure hunt. There is millions of dollars worth of gold somewhere. So John B sets out to do it. He wants to find this and he'll do whatever it takes. He'll get his friends to help him out, but thing is, not everyone is gonna let that happen. In fact, a lot of people don't want him to do it because he's just a kid and people want the money too, Naturally, it causes some tension and some troubles with people in the area because, well, everybody wants to find gold. Everyone wants to be rich, right? Even the rich people would like to be more rich. So very, very fun premise, and I think it's executed well because it is exciting.
That's my crew. We're the working class who make a living bussing tables, running charters, and our mission this summer is to have a good time all the time.
So John B, Kiara, Pope, and JJ are all really likable for the most part, and at first I'm not so sure. Some of them, I'll say at least one of them, I was starting to question early on whether or not this person was just reckless and careless, but you see some depth and you see some reason to follow and care about this person. And I think that all these kids are going through their own things and you feel bad for them. I actually really appreciated how much they worked well together. There's a lot of chemistry. So I think that there's a fantastic dynamic between these friends. You can sort of really understand that they have been friends for some time and that they're there for each other. You can see that they care for one another, and certain things that happen in the story, you'll see that one of them or all of them will go after that other person to make sure they're okay. They were willing to sacrifice great things. They're willing to walk away from people they care about for the people that they care about the most in their friends because they're just such a special group of friends that care for one another. The way that they wrote our rich characters into the story made it work super well for me. In fact, a couple of them really ended up being my favorite characters the entire show. They did some great things. There's a certain family in there that you'll see are very important on the storytelling, and certain people who are close to them, certain friends of these other kids. A lot of really interesting things happened. I want to be vague with it. I could talk about a few names. You'll come to see that Sarah and Rafe, these siblings, are very good in their own rights. for certain reasons, different from one another. Obviously, the whole treasure hunt is sort of the main appeal for a lot of people of this show. I mean, it's exciting on paper, and once you watch it, especially in the last few episodes, the treasure hunt is more than just a little appealing. It's awesome. I personally was literally on the edge of my seat a few times, more than I thought I was going to be, and I was super drawn into the story because really interesting things happen, and sort of just the way the story unfolds and the way this treasure hunt goes is really cool.
But I'm pretty sure he got away with 400 million in gold.
We're gonna be filthy rich, man.
So John B's father went missing at some point. He's kind of the main character here, right? So he knows that his father set out on a big mission, a big adventure to find some treasure, some gold that would get them hundreds of millions of dollars. And it was very important to his father, Big John B. He went out for quite some time, spent years doing research. So John B naturally wants to follow that. Now that his father is missing, he thinks that he could be alive. He thinks that he could find the treasure that his father once sought out to do so. So John B sort of sets out on his own personal mission. But obviously, when there's something so big, and it's sort of a legend around the area, a lot of people are interested in it as well. So, you know, you see some people do some bad things in hopes to find it. You'll see some bad guys. You'll see some other people doing their own missions, all in hopes to get rich. The thing is, it's sort of a very normal, expected thing, though it's a little exaggerated because it's TV, but you hear that there's a chance to make like $400 million and you're in a small town and it's been a legend for some time. You hear that people are getting closer and closer to it. I'm sure that there are more than a couple of people who are going to be interested in getting rich. And I'm sure the wealthy would like to be even more wealthy, wouldn't they? So the storytelling is really good because of this adventure that John B sort of sets out on. It's not necessarily grand, but it's interesting because the way that they wrote this story for John B, it ended up to become very intimate for him and his friends, for the people around them. It caused tension, it caused a lot of drama, and it sort of brought out the worst in some people, and it also brought out the best in some people. And I think that overall it is really interesting and very exciting. Like I said, in the last few episodes, things sort of get to be just like thrilling. So I think it's good. Honestly, I don't think that it is that cliche or that melodramatic, or overall, I think that the story is told well and the characters are actually really good. I mean, they get really deep too. So I'm all for it.
I know you have feelings for John B. But sweetheart, he's dangerous.
And that's just the thing. Overall, I was just all in on Outer Banks. You know, like I said, I didn't have majorly high expectations, but I was totally excited by the trailer. I thought it looked like a fun show. It looked like an interesting show. And I sort of haven't been able to stop thinking about it because, you know, I've said it a few times, but these characters are compelling and it is an exciting show.
That's where your fun ends. That's where all your problems begin.
So those are kind of my overall thoughts on Outer Banks. I think that it's great for a multitude of reasons. We have good acting and good chemistry between our characters. We have some very interesting and deep, very well written characters. These kids, well, the one thing that I continuously get thrown off by in certain shows is when an adult plays a kid. And I don't mean like a 40-year-old playing a 10-year-old, obviously, but I'm talking like a high schooler being portrayed by someone in their early 20s. It happens all the time, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily work as well. And the thing is, these people who play as our main characters, they don't pass for 16-year-olds, really. I mean, I wouldn't even consider carding them, and I'm a server. It's not unheard of for a high schooler to look old, but the thing is, not only do they obviously look older, but they also sort of just act older sometimes. Other than that, though, the show's good. I really like the characters, and the more I think about it, the more I like them. The antagonists, too. I'm not even gonna, really go any further. I'm not gonna tell you who the antagonists are because it is a very well-written show with a lot of mystery and suspense around it. So overall, Outer Banks, really cool show, really good characters, and I thought that the ending was more or less great. I mean, there's certain parts about it which I sort of might want to talk about in a spoiler video, but that I didn't love. But overall, Outer Banks, I think you guys should watch it. I mean, I totally understand if you think it's aimed at teens or young adults and you're not in that demographic, but I don't think that it's really overly melodramatic or corny or anything. I mean, There's a lot of tense moments in there, and as the series goes on, especially after the first few episodes, I want to say more like halfway through, like the second half of the show is actually really exciting. Yeah, I mean, there's some compelling storylines in there and stuff and emotions, and I think that I'm super hyped for a season 2. Hopefully it gets confirmed one day soon that we will have more to look forward to in Outer Banks. So let me know in the comments below, guys, if you saw this show and what you thought. I mean, keep it spoiler free, please, for all of our viewers who have not yet seen the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time here. So I'll see you guys all in the next video.